The wine glass shattered on the hardwood floor, a sharp, crystalline scream cutting to the polite hum of conversation. I froze, pulse hammering as every head turned toward me. At the head of the table, Claire stood rigid, her expression carefully composed yet seething beneath the surface. "You don't deserve to be here," she said, her voice low, precise, laced with venom. The words struck harder than the sound of breaking glass. Around us, her friends shifted uneasily, forks scraping against plates. Eyes dropped to napkins. My throat tightened. I wanted to ask, to fight, to demand an explanation, but no sound came. I was pinned in place by her contempt. I hadn't wanted to come to this dinner. From the start, the night had been off. Claire had been distant all week. Her smiles brittle, her touch perfunctory. I told myself it was work, her new promotion, the endless calls wearing her thin. She assured me it was nothing, and for 10 years together. Suspicion felt like betrayal. But as I watched her obsess over table settings with manic focus, unease gnawed at me. I joked, "Why don't we ever invite my friends?" For a split second, a shadow crossed her eyes before she turned away. "They wouldn't fit in," she said flatly. I laughed it off, but the words lodged in my chest. Now, amidst the wreckage of the evening, the smell of roasted garlic and spilled wine felt suffocating. Elise twisted a napkin to shreds, avoiding my gaze. Mark, her colleague, sat back with a faint smirk, something gleaming in his eyes that made my stomach knot. I pushed the napkin aside, palms slick. "Claire," I managed, voice shaking. "What's going on?" She didn't answer. Instead, she turned to her guest with a brittle, mechanical smile. "Let's not ruin the evening," she chirped. The others murmured in half-hearted agreement, glances stabbing at me like needles. I stumbled out, the hallway too narrow, the air too thick. Outside, the autumn wind bit at my face. My mind replayed the last few months. Her distance, the secretive calls, the way she recoiled when I reached for her hand. 2 weeks ago, I had glimpsed a text. "Can't wait to see you. M." She said it was Mark. Something about work. I nodded, pretended to believe her. She was Claire, my Claire, the woman who left corny love notes on the fridge, teared up during movies. She wasn't capable of deceit. Or so I thought. My phone vibrated. My heart leapt. Maybe it was Claire. Maybe an explanation. But it wasn't. "Elise, meet me at the coffee shop on 5th. Confusion twisted into dread. Elise had never texted me before. Why now? Minutes later, I pushed open the coffee shop door. The neon sign flickered weakly above. The smell of burnt espresso and damp coats filled the air. Elise sat in a corner booth, coat on, hands clasped around her phone. Her eyes were red-rimmed. "I'm sorry," she said, voice trembling. "I didn't know how to tell you." My pulse pounds. "Tell me what?" I asked, though I already knew. She slid her phone across the table. On the screen glowed a photo. Claire laughing, hand resting on Mark's arm. In that instant, everything I had been refusing to see came into focus. The light in the photo was dim, intimate. The timestamp read, "Last night." The same night, Claire told me she had to work late. I stared until my vision blurred. "There's more," Elise murmured, voice shaking. She swiped. Now Claire and Mark were closer, faces almost touching. My chest tightened, as though someone had pressed the air from my lungs. "Why are you showing me this?" My voice was raw with anger. Elise flinched. "Because I saw them. Last week, at his apartment, I was dropping off files. They didn't know I was there." Each word hit like a blow. I wanted to scream, deny, fight, but the photos didn't lie. The way Claire's hand rested on his arm, the intimacy in her smile, everything said enough. I don't remember leaving the cafe, but soon I was outside. Cold wind stung my face as rage, heartbreak, and disbelief collided in my chest. I thought of Claire at dinner. Her cutting remarks. Was that guilt or a way to push me away? I want to confront her, to shout, to demand she say it wasn't true. But deep down, I already knew. Late nights, distance. Stop saying, "I love you" first. All warnings I had ignored, clinging to a version of her that no longer existed. Back at the apartment, Everything felt heavier. The dinner was over. Guests gone. Table a mess. Claire scrubbed the pan with angry, sharp motions, not glancing up. "We need to talk," I said, voice calm but my insides in chaos. "About what?" Her tone was too light, too guarded. I held out my phone, the photos displayed. For a second, her face crumpled, then hardened again. "It's not what it looks like," she said, voice trembling. That was all the answer I needed. "Then what is it?" I shouted, "Because it looks like you're in love with someone else." Her silence cut deeper than any words. She set the pan down, hands trembling. When she finally looked at me, her eyes glistened, not with sorrow, but with defiance. "You've been gone for months," she snapped. "You don't even see me anymore." I faltered. Had I been absent? Long work hours, arguments left to fade, growing distance. All of it flashed through my mind. But none of it excused this. "The photos," I said, voice cracking. "I saw everything. Elise showed me." Fear flickered in her eyes for the first time. "It was a mistake," she whispered. But it was too late. The truth hung between us, raw and unforgiving. Not just about Mark, but everything we lost without realizing it. I turned toward the door, heart splintered. Her voice stopped me. "I'm pregnant," she said, barely audible. I froze. Slowly I turned, her eyes filled with tears, pleading. And in that moment, a new, cruel question replaced all the others. Whose child is it? The uncertainty cut deeper than any betrayal ever could.